We've spent decades trying to create a world with more freedom, more opportunities, more careers, more entertainment, more choices. We assumed that more options would make us happier. But what if the opposite is happening? Today, you have more choices than any human being in history. And yet, anxiety, indecision, and dissatisfaction seem to be everywhere. Why? Because every choice comes with a hidden cost. Imagine opening Netflix, hundreds of shows, thousands of movies. 20 minutes later, you're still scrolling. Not because there's nothing worth watching, because there is too much. Psychologist Barry Schwartz called this the paradox of choice. His research found that beyond a certain point, more options don't create more happiness. They create more stress, more doubt, and more regret. But the biggest danger isn't choosing wrong, it's never choosing at all. When faced with endless possibilities, the mind often freezes. We keep researching, keep comparing, keep waiting for certainty. We postpone decisions because another option might appear tomorrow. And while we're busy evaluating every path, life quietly moves forward without us. This is choice paralysis. The strange situation where having more freedom actually makes it harder to act. But there's another consequence that's even more subtle. Too many options can make us dissatisfied with things that were perfectly fine to begin with. Not because they've changed, but because our attention has changed. The mind has a habit of comparing reality with possibilities, and possibilities are always seductive. Imagine you've been in a healthy relationship for years. The excitement settles, things become familiar, safe, predictable. And suddenly, your mind begins whispering, what if there's someone even better? Not because your relationship is failing, but because your mind has become aware of alternatives. The same thing happens with careers. A job you once loved starts feeling restrictive. A city you enjoyed begins to feel limiting. A path that was meaningful starts looking ordinary. Not because these things lost their value, but because your attention drifted toward all the lives you aren't living. And here's the problem. Those alternative lives exist mostly in your imagination. They're edited, idealized, incomplete. You compare the messy reality of your actual life against a fantasy that contains none of the sacrifices, struggles, or trade-offs. And reality almost always loses that comparison. So the mind keeps searching, not because it has found something better, but because it has convinced itself that something better must exist. This is why people often sabotage things that are working, not intentionally, but by constantly looking beyond them. Ancient wisdom understood this long before modern psychology. The Stoics deliberately simplified their lives, not because they lacked options, but because they understood that attention is limited. Seneca wrote, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." The Bhagavad Gita teaches something similar. A scattered mind cannot move deeply in any direction. To pursue one path, you must let go of others. To build something meaningful, you must stop constantly looking over your shoulder. Because depth requires commitment, and commitment requires closing doors. Somewhere along the way, we've been taught that keeping every option open is freedom. But maybe keeping every option open is exactly what prevents us from fully living. Because meaning doesn't come from exploring every path. Meaning comes from choosing one and walking it long enough to discover what it has to offer. Maybe the richest life isn't the one with the most possibilities. Maybe it's the one you're willing to commit to. Because freedom was never about having every door available. It was about having the courage to walk through one. So, what doors are you afraid to close?